Black Divider Asta has just released on the global side of the game, and I literally just got done pulling for him. I got a few things leveled up, and what you see right now is not the finished product. He is at 45,000 total combat power right now. I will be getting him much higher in the future, but I wanted to get this build guide out there for you, so just keep that in mind moving forward in this video. We're going to be going over what skills you want to prioritize upgrading first, what skill pages you want to equip on him, what gear you want to run on him, whether or not he's actually worth enhancing, what talents you want to do for the talent tree, and then of course last but not least, what teams is he going to fit well on. So let's start by talking about his skills and what skills you want to upgrade first, starting with his unique passive that you get for getting him to LR status. So upon attacking, attacks after granting increased damage dealt in proportion to missing HP, max 200%. Basically, you get 2% extra damage for each percent of HP you are missing, which allows him to hit incredibly hard, which means you do not want to build this character with any defense or HP if you can help it. At the start of a battle, if all the mages on the ally side are of different attributes, he will gain immortality for 1 turn, and if HP is below 30%. So you have to have HP below 30%, have all allies be different attributes, and then he'll gain immortality for a turn when it's below 30%. His skill 1 is called Triple Strike. It is a single target attack. It inflicts an SP -4 debuff on an enemy without even upgrading the skill. That makes this the best skill 1 in the game. Inflicts HP recovery immunity on the enemy for 2 turns as well. That also makes this the best skill 1 in the game. Like, it's insanely good, and you can use it every single turn, which is absolutely freaking broken. His skill 2, One Horn Bull Thrust, is another single target attack, and he attacks after inflicting all buff removal on an enemy, which is really good. So if they have damage reduction, not anymore. If you guys have been annoyed by Green Charlotte, not anymore, right? That makes him so good. Grants self-protection for 1 turn, meaning he cannot be selected as an attack target, and then this only happens if you have a skill page, but it is very good. If Desperation is not present on self, converts own HP to 40% of max HP, meaning he will get closer to that 30% threshold to get the Desperation buff that you want on him, okay? So keep that in mind. You do want his skill page literally for that alone. That is very good on Black Divider Asta. His special skill is called Final Strike, another single target attack. Attacks after inflicting barrier removal on an enemy. Per 1,000 enemies defense, attacks after inflicting 5% increased damage taken on them. If Desperation is present on self, attacks after inflicting immortality immunity on an enemy, meaning immortality just doesn't matter against this character. And then attacks after granting self all continuous damage removal. So what this means is his skill page gives him an extra attack. If he gets that extra attack and he was burning, he would die. But because he removes continuous damage removal, he'll get that extra attack and not have to worry about dying. So that's actually better than it looks. Like, all of this stuff just works really cohesively and really well. It makes this Black Asta very good. Black Divider Asta, I should be more specific, because there is a Black Asta and then Black Divider Asta now. The combined attack is also fairly decent. It inflicts a stun status element on an enemy for 1 turn, right? So using that with like Valkyrie Noelle, because he's an attacker and Valkyrie Noelle is a defender who can't be ran with other defenders to get her full effect, could work pretty dang well. Now, in terms of upgrade priority, I do recommend upgrading his special skill first, because it gives you the biggest attack increase. It's going to allow you to nuke the most, right? And it's going to have the most effect when trying to kill an enemy. So I think that is your priority number 1. I think priority number 2 is honestly a toss-up between skill 1 and skill 2. They both have their uses and they are both very good. Skill 1 you'll be able to use all the time. You subtract SP from the enemy and give them HP recovery immunity, but your skill 2 you're going to want to use because it lowers your HP so you can get that desperation. So it's like, I don't know, which one do you want more? They're about equal. Honestly, both of them are important to upgrade because they both just give you more attack and more damage, which is pretty helpful. I think skill 2 I would do first and then do your skill 1. So personally, I think I would go special skill, skill 2, skill 1. But like I said, skill 2 and skill 1 are kind of a toss-up. And then last but not least, your combo skill. I would put the combo skill technically last because I feel like out of all the things in his kit, you should be using this the least more than likely, but it is still you know, a very good skill. You could be using it if you run him with Valkyrie Noelle quite a bit. So it's hard to say. But keep in mind the stun could make it take longer for you to lose the amount of health you need to lose in order to get to that 30% threshold to hit your desperation, because now you've stunned an enemy attacker or something. So this might actually be kind of a detriment to him. So just keep that in mind as you guys are upgrading your skills. So once again, order special skill, skill 2, skill 1, combo skill in terms of upgrade priority. Now, in terms of skill pages, I'm going to be 100% honest, completely straight up with you guys. You can run other damage skill pages on him if you want, but there is no replacement for his skill page. His skill page is the best possible skill page you can equip to him. Even with just one copy here, like I have, even if it's not max duped, this is the best possible skill page you can run on him. Why do I say that? Well, if you go down to the passive, right? At the very bottom of the passive, regardless of anything else, if you have this skill page equipped to him, it gives you an extra 30% damage dealt, no questions asked. That's it. Just 30% damage dealt, nothing else needed. That's insanely good, and it's honestly good on other attackers. You could run this skill page on other attackers, and it would be good. But besides that, it also gives you the extra effect on skill 2 that we discussed before. And then if desperation is present on self, there is a 50% chance to grant an extra turn upon killing an enemy. And this does not activate when the partner mage performs a combined attack, right? But like, that is really, really good. And if you do get extra dupes of this skill page, it becomes a 100% chance to give an extra turn, which is insanely broken. So having his skill page is very, very important, whether you have no dupes or max dupes. I do recommend this over any other skill page. Normally, I would show you guys other potential options for skill pages, but I don't even want to give you the idea of other skill pages because you need to try and pull this one. But in general, if you don't have this one, you could run other just like attack increase or damage increase skill pages, and they would work somewhat okay. Crit would be good. Crit skill pages would be fairly decent, okay? But those are the skill pages. That skill page right there is the skill page you should be running on him. Now, in terms of gear, this is how you would build him, more so if you are aiming to be competitive with the character. If you are not aiming to be competitive with the character, you might go for a little bit different of a build, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But for this build, you are going to want to go for an attack set and a speed set. And then if you were going to go for a 3-set build, you would obviously get rid of 3 of these smaller pieces and go for 2 big attack pieces on the side, and then 3 small pieces in the middle like you have here, and then the 2 big attack pieces that we have here. And you might would go for like another regular attack build, or maybe even a crit rate. I would say probably a crit rate build is what you want right here. So you'd want attack, mobility, and crit rate probably more than likely for him. If you were not going to go for the 6 small pieces, you're going to do 4 big pieces and 3 small pieces. That's what I would go for. But I do think this is potentially the best build for him because you're going to be able to get the most substats out of having more pieces here, and those substats are going to be very important. So the main stat you want on each piece is attack, right? So you should be building attack for this character for every single piece. But then the main substats you want to have on Black Divider Asta is going to be attack, crit damage, and crit rate, as well as accuracy. Okay, accuracy and crit damage are kind of third. So if I was to put them in order, I would say crit rate is number 1. Above all, you want Black Asta to have as much crit rate as possible. I keep calling him Black Asta. I mean Black Divider Asta. You know what I mean? We want Black Divider Asta to have as much crit rate as possible. Then we want him to have as much attack as possible. And then after that, crit damage and accuracy are, I would say, are both equally important. Okay, so when you re-roll your substats, this is kind of like an ideal piece of gear right here, other than my attack is C rank, you know. But like, this is kind of the ideal roll. You want crit rate percentage, you want attack percentage, crit damage percentage, and accuracy. I feel like that is a very good piece of gear in general, and I do still need to re-roll my other pieces of gear, but I would say these 2 pieces right here are fairly okay. I got 2 attack, crit damage, and an accuracy right here, so I feel like that's fairly decent, and that'll help you out a lot. I do still need to transcend my pieces. Like I said, I just got done pulling for him, so I'll need to transcend that, put some accessories on and stuff like that. I would recommend for accessories probably some crit rate, crit damage accessories up here. Same thing though for substats. This is kind of what you want to go for on substats to maximize Black Divider Asta's efficiency and make him as good as possible with his stats. So this is kind of the build you would want to go for. Now, in terms of enhancement, should you be enhancing this character? Should you be pulling for extra dupes? Should you be trying to get copies of the skill page? Long story short, you should be trying to max dupe this character and max dupe the skill page if you want to be competitive, because he is very, very good when you're able to do that. I do have a copy here and an extra versatile mage piece here. I don't want to use them just yet because I might do a few more summons. We'll see. But every time you upgrade this character, it actually helps him out a ton, right? So 1 dupe, he gets an extra 5% crit rate, which is nice. And then at 2 dupes, you get the additional passive. So the additional passive at the start of battle, if all mages on the ally side are of different attributes and if HP is less than 30%, grants self desperation. If HP is equal to or higher than 30%, removes desperation from self. What does desperation do? Because we haven't really talked about that. Upon blocking all status elements and killing an enemy, grants self an SP plus 8 buff. Additionally, it will give you that additional attack if you have the skill page on him, which is really nice, right? But that desperation is very, very good, and you do have to get to 2 dupes to be able to get that. Then at 3 dupes, this is where you're at. 4 dupes, you get the additional speed, right? And then 5 dupes, we get the additional effect of, at the start of a turn, grants self total silence removal, which means you don't have to worry about Vanessa being an annoying... You know what she is. She's so annoying. The Vanessa, that's total silences your whole team, right? So this Black Asta is really good for countering that for that particular reason. And then talents. What should you be running on your talent trees? Well, if you have the talent stones, you might want to switch some of these up, right? So the ideal talent for the attack tree right here, I would say, is crit rate and then damage dealt. But if you don't have the stone to switch it, like I don't right now, I would say attack percentage and crit rate are probably your 2 best. You could also run attack percentage and damage dealt percentage if you wanted. Those would be fine, but I do think crit rate is actually very valuable on this Black Divider Asta. Then on defense down here, I would go for crit resist plus 10%. You don't really want to go for defense because once again, you want him to lower his health in order to get all of his buffs and things going. And then I would also go for debuff immunity for 1 turn when HP is equal to or lower than 35%, because the idea behind this character obviously is to have him below 30% health. And then on the support tree, I would go for accuracy and penetration, just to give him as much damage as possible. And then I do like the idea of reducing your skill 2 cooldown, because your skill 2, once again, is very, very good, as you guys saw when we went over the kit. So this is kind of how I would do his talent tree. Hopefully that helps you out. And then that just leaves us with talking about the teams that he can fit on. When it comes to Black Asta's teams, he's kind of limited in a way because you can't run like too many healers or defensive characters with him, right? Because you want him to lose health throughout the duration of the battle. So if you run like Green Charlotte, who people use on, you know, most every other team, and you try to use the Green Charlotte here, she will give Asta barriers, she'll give damage reduction, and that just makes it hard for him to lower his health, right? So you actually almost don't want to run her on the team. I mean, you can, but it is difficult. If you're going to run her on the team, I do recommend like running another DPS on the team who is going to have a higher attack than Asta. That way she gives the barrier to that character as opposed to Asta. That way Asta can still lower his health. But that's definitely, I feel like, more of a whale strategy to do that. So keep that in mind. In terms of like a strategy that works for most everybody, I would say this is the strategy right here, where you run Valkyrie Noelle with Asta. Then you have the combo attack if you want to use it at the beginning of battle to help keep him alive. Now, you don't necessarily have to use it to give him invulnerability, right? But if you're just worried about him getting one shot or something like that, this is a pretty decent combo right here. You have William for the speed. You have Vanessa, who can also give the protection and stuff like that. That keeps Asta safe for a turn without really doing too much to give him too much healing or too much protection so that he can still lose some health over time. I think she's just a better option over Charlotte in general for this type of team with the Black Divider Asta. So I do think this is the team you're going to see more in the top ranks of play. If you go check the leaderboards in PvP, this is kind of what you'll see more so than other teams. You might see different variations and stuff like that. William can be replaced. So here's another version without William. Now this version of the team is something I feel like most people probably won't run unless you have a Zora who is, you know, built like this, a level 125 fully transcended Zora, right? Like is going to be very, very solid. He's going to be very fast for your team. He's going to have the counters and stuff like that and could work. But the main thing is you need to have one of each type, right? So having a blue character on the team, your blue character options are limited, I feel like, kind of to who you can throw on this team and actually have work. Like, I could almost throw this blue defender William on here, but then Noelle wouldn't get her full abilities. So it is kind of limited with the teams that you can run. But another option that I have seen, let me see if I can find him. It's not anything that I would personally run because I don't have the character nearly built enough. But another option you could run would be something sort of like this that I was describing before, and maybe you run that Charlotte right there. You could do something sort of like this, and this might work because then now if your Magna does need to be built, but if your Magna is built enough, she'll get the barrier to him, right? And then you have the damage reduction from Charlotte, keeping Asta alive so he doesn't die. You have Noelle for her combo attack still and doing everything that she does with the damage reduction. Like, this could be a very, very solid team. You could also switch out Noelle for another character if you wanted, but I feel like this is just another variation. But in general, those are the teams that I would run for Black Divider Asta. If you guys have any other suggestions, let us know down in the comments of, teams that you think would be competitive in PvP and be good in PvP. Now, in terms of PvE, like, he could be run pretty much anywhere. He's just going to be absolutely insane. So I'm not going to go really into it when it comes to PvE teams in this particular build guide. And that is it for this video, guys. If you did enjoy the video, please consider going down there, hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, and leave me some comments if you guys have any questions. And also let me know if you guys have tested out Black Divider Asta and how you're feeling about him. Thanks so much for watching. Peace.